Okay, so yesterday we looked at writing equations of lines, given graphs, given the slope, given the y-intercept. We did a combination of all that. Today we're going to reverse that. We're going to be given an equation and we're going to graph it. Okay, so we're going to give the equation, we're going to turn around and graph it. We have a lot of the same skills that are going to be important, like finding the slope and finding the y-intercept. So I did a little reminder up here of y equals mx plus b. Remember that's slope-intercept form? And that m stands for slope, and the b is the y-intercept. We have an example right here. So first of all, we just want to identify the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so first thing we need to check, is y all by itself? Yes, y is all by itself, so the y is isolated, which means I can just read the slope, I can just read the y-intercept. So, excuse me, in front of x, we have 1/4. That is my slope. My constant in this case is -3. That is my y-intercept. Okay, so everybody write that down. Make sure you have that in your notes. Now, to graph, I have the instructions on here. There's really just two steps. First, you're going to plot the y-intercept on the y-axis. Okay, so I'm going to plot my y-intercept on the y-axis. I know my y-intercept happens at -3. So on the y-axis, I'm going to go down to -3, and I'm going to plot a point. Now we're going to use our slope to plot additional points. So from that y-intercept, my slope is 1/4, meaning I need to rise 1 and run 4. I need to rise 1 and run 4. Let me do that in a different color. I want to rise 1 and run 4. That'll be my second point. Okay, we just need 2 points, and go ahead and graph your line. That's all there is to graphing lines. Make sure you read your slope and your y-intercept. Then we're going to plot the y-intercept on the y-axis, and then plot additional points from there. Now, that problem was nice because y was all by itself. But, as you know, I'm not always nice. So, let's think about what happens if y is not by itself. And this is part of what we did last week as well. I think we were building up to this. So there was some method to our madness last week. All right, so now let's think about this equation here. This first one. We need to get y by itself. It is not by itself. So right now I have x plus y equals 4. What do I have to do to get y by itself? I need to get rid of the x. So I'm going to need to subtract an x from both sides. So I have y equals a -x plus 4. Okay, think back to your Algebra 1 days. Remember how you were taught to put the variables first and then the constants? That's what I did here. Plus it matches our slope-intercept form. Okay, so let's think about what number really sits in front of x. So there's a negative sign there, but don't forget that's really a -1. So now that y is isolated, we can find our slope and our y-intercept. So our slope is at -1. Our y-intercept is at 4. Okay, so think about those 2 steps I told you. First thing we're going to do, we're going to plot the y-intercept on the y-axis. So my y-intercept is at 4. So I'm going to count up to 4, plotting that point. Now my slope is -1. It's not a fraction, so don't forget that's really -1 over 1. I can write any number over 1, which means I need to go down 1 and over 1 to place a point. Down 1 and over 1. So now that I have my 2 points, I can draw my line. Okay, let's think about this problem on the right. Think about the problem on the right. Again, y is not by itself. We're going to do a little bit of work here. So we have 2x plus 3y equals 9. Okay, so let's work on getting y all by itself. I think I said y on the right. I meant y is not isolated. So I need to get y all by itself, which means I need to get this 2x to the other side. So how do I undo the positive 2x? I need to subtract 2x. We have 3y equals a negative 2x plus 9. All right. Well, y is somewhat isolated. The problem is we still have that coefficient in front. We still have that 3 in front of the y. So that says 3 times y. So think about, how do I undo multiplication? That's going to be division. So this is where last week I told you I want you to divide every single term by 3. So I want it to be divided by 3, divided by 3, divided by 3. So if I simplify, I have y equals, this is an ugly fraction, and that's okay. Because remember, when we get that fraction in front of x, remember that's just our direction. That's our rise and our run. So that's negative 2/3 x. And then I have 9 divided by 3, which is 3. So now y is truly isolated. So y is isolated, so now I can read my slope. It's the number in front of the x. So my slope is negative 2/3. My b value, my y-intercept, is 3. So think about step 1. We need to plot our y-intercept. So at 3, plotting my point. My slope is negative 2/3. Means we need to go down 2 and over 3. Okay, and we can draw our line then. Okay, so really we're just using all of our skills here kind of put together. All right, so now on the back you have 8 more problems like that. Okay, you have 8 more problems to complete on the back of the notes, just like this. You're solving for y all by itself, and then I want you to make sure you identify slope and y-intercept each time. Once you finish that, if you did not finish the quizzes from yesterday, go back. You'll have to start over, but work on the quizzes. You need to get that quizzes done. Then you have all the stuff in classroom. You have a ton of missing assignments. Look in progress book to see what you need to do. Okay, one of the big complaints on the survey was that you didn't have enough time to get stuff done. Okay, so make sure you're using your time wisely. This is going to get to a point where I'm just going to not give you more time. So please use your time now.